All right, guys, we are live. It's episode 218 of the Shooter's Mindset. Thank you guys for tuning in tonight. Nikki Clevenger's joining us on the co-host side. What's going on, Nikki?
Hey, guys, I'm back.
Hey, Jennifer Seymour's joining us. What's going on, Jen?
Hey, everybody.
Hey, owners of Wiebad, David and Robert. What's going on, guys? How you doing?
How's it going? How are y'all?
It's good to have you in. We're going to talk about precision rifle bags, and you guys sell a lot of other things pertaining to the sport and big supporters of that game. So we're going to talk about that. I have no clue on this stuff, honestly. I know you need it. I know it's an essential part of a piece of equipment if you want to play the game.
That's why Jen's here.
For real, right? I just don't. I'm like asking you guys, is this stuff made of that beanbag material in the pre-show, like the shit that we just like sit on in the living room on TV? Is it the same stuff? And they hit with some like scientific name for the stuff that they use.
I love that these last couple shows have been like, Kestrel and now Wiebad and all these things for PRS. When this time, like last year, Jen was like, I'm going to get into PRS. I'm going to try and get into PRS. And here it is. She did it. She actually did it. And now we're actually having more companies that support that discipline of shooting on the show. And it's because of you, Jen. I'm like, you said you was going to do it, and you straight did it.
I did. I went and fell in love with it. Dang it. Now I'm broke.
I said I was going to do it too. I bought all the rifles and the equipment, like AR-10 stuff and stuff. Not the bolt gun type of stuff. And then I have it here, and I really haven't shot it. So Jen is the true person. She held up her word. Thank you. I just have the equipment. Like if a bunch of buddies say, let's go to the range and shoot out to a mile, I'm like, yeah, let's finally zero that scoping.
You just like to buy one of everything, Anthony. Yeah. Be honest.
Yeah, I do. I do.
Just in case. You never know.
Sitting here in a nice Patriot case, just laughing at me right now. So there it is. All right. So show sponsors, the folks over at Tactical Shit, shop.tacticalshit.com for all your tactical shit needs. I don't know if Tactical Shit, I haven't recently went and like searched specifically for like PRS stuff. I don't know if they're big into like selling PRS equipment, but they do have a lot of AR-15, AR-10. So I guess you can use that stuff. All the tactical stuff, clothing, all that stuff. Go check them out. We'll have a discount code coming from them in the discount corner portion of the show coming up here shortly. If you guys are watching live and want to get any questions in throughout the show for David and Robert, good way to do that. If you're watching on the YouTube side of things, top right-hand corner, join the conversation. We will scan those questions and get them over live throughout the show. If you're watching on the Facebook, the Shooter's Mindset on Facebook, there is a post that just went up, and Jen's over there scanning those questions. We'll get those out live also. We're also going to select a winner for last week's show that I wasn't a part of here, and Jen filled in. So awesomely done, Jen, on the hosting, right? I was kind of watching in and out, just kind of watching the show. That's is it a little harder to be the host than just a co-host, or what?
Yeah, it's a little rough. Like at the beginning I started, then I was like, crap, I was supposed to say all these things. Let me go back and say all those things I was supposed to say.
Yeah, sometimes it's kind of like you have to flip so many windows and prepare for that next question. It's like sometimes you can't fully pay attention 100% or say the things you want to follow up with. Kind of weird. I don't know, whatever. But good job. Thanks for filling in. If not, that show would have been a cancel last minute, and that sucked. I hate to cancel on guest last minute. Who knows what they kind of had set up that they put aside to do the show. So it's always not a good thing to do. So we're going to try to draw that winner for the Kestrel. I didn't even know how much those things cost until last week's show. They're, $600. The thing does way more than I thought it does. So, it's definitely worth having, especially if you can win one and don't have to pay that $300 to $600 for one. This is awesome. The odds are pretty good on this one. So we'll select that here shortly. TheShootersMindset.com for all your latest blogs. You can shop there. We have a lot of TTI, Taran Tactical Innovation stuff, some T-shirts, some swag over there. Check that out, TheShootersMindset.com. And that's it. All right, that's as far as show announcements go. All right, for those who aren't familiar with you guys, can you tell us a little bit more about yourselves and about your company, Wiebad, how that all kind of got started?
Okay. Well, actually, Wiebad was started on a hunting trip that we actually went on probably, 8-9 years ago? Yeah. In West Texas, we went every year out to Terlingua, or that area of the Big Bend area of Texas, and went mule deer hunting after Thanksgiving. And one night we were sitting by a campfire and kind of talking about it. And,
we were talking about something. You wouldn't tell the real story if you want.
No, go ahead. You go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, actually, I don't know the story as good as David knows this story. Because you know the story pretty well because you actually experienced it that morning. But anyway, we'll spare y'all the details. But the original kind of idea of Wiebad when we first started out is we were actually going to brand products. So basically, we wanted to come up with a brand that was cool enough to be similar to Nike, so we could actually take a product that currently existed out there, brand that product, and then sell it under a company name. And it was actually David that went out and purchased his first sewing machine. That way he could just start making things for himself out there, shooting in the PRS and PRS style matches. And the rest from there is history. But the funny story is just basically just that we were going to brand products. And there was a specific product that we wanted to make, actually called a crap caddy. Somebody came out with the idea since then, but one of the trailer hitch little toilets, because we had a buddy that couldn't make it to the toilet all the time. So we were actually going to make it for him. And that's where Wiebad came from, funny enough.
That is hilarious.
Yeah.
Hey, you could make a lot of money with PRS with women there if you had like walls around that thing.
Hey, just a shower curtain is all it would take, right?
Yeah, I mean, like just a little tent around it would be awesome. Let me tell you, the MPA porta potty, everyone used it that morning, and by afternoon,
yeah,
I was like debating with myself, how bad did I really want to drink that water?
Dehydration or humiliation? Which one is it, right?
Or passing out from the fumes? Which one?
Yeah. It's funny. So this kind of sprang from an idea called the crap caddy. Is that what I got from that?
Yeah, something close to that. We didn't really have a name for it, but it was pretty close to that.
Yeah.
So shooting bags are quite a ways away from a crap potty.
I was about to say, I'm confused because I swear we had a company on here that made bags.
Yes. Yes.
And now we're talking about portable toilets. I'm just.
Well, that's what originally started, and the name came, actually, Robert came up with that. I think we were drinking beer by the campfire one night, and he's like, I've already thought of a name for the company. I'm like, really? And we're sitting there, and we might have had a few apiece, and he said, Wiebad. And I'm like, really? I'm like, how'd you get that? And he's like, your last name and my last name combined. Yeah. And I was like, that's pretty awesome. I like it.
That took a lot of thought.
So we knew we had to do something. We just didn't know what at the time. And look at what we evolved into, right?
Yeah. And then I bought a sewing machine. This was pre-PRS. But at the time, I was already shooting long-range matches, mostly down at Rifles Only in Kingsville. And there was a few products that I thought were needed and things like that. So I bought a sewing machine and asked a few friends who also kind of sewed a little bit on the side, kind of how to do things. And through the learning process, just learned how to sew and taught myself. And we kind of took it off from there. We started making products, and we started having friends asking us to make certain things, and it kind of just snowballed. And what started as kind of a small side business, we've been very blessed by friends and good relationships, and the good Lord, that it's turned into a job, a full-time business, something bigger than we ever could have imagined.
Absolutely. And just to add to that, we've got to give a lot of our credit, as far as our success is concerned, back to the shooters, because without the ideas and without all of these things that they brought to us, and for instance, we used to name a lot of the products that we used to manufacture off the individuals that actually thought of them, which is why we had the Todd tack pad and why we have the pump pillow and why we had the berry bag. It's these guys that come to us and say, hey, this product would be awesome if it did this, or can you do something that does this? So, because of all that and people bringing us those ideas and us being able to evolve them into something that functions the way that they do today, we wouldn't have done it without a lot of the support that we got out of the shooting community itself.
Yeah, I always enjoy the way kind of that idea kind of started, and it's funny, especially your story on, just kind of hunting buddies, and you guys put together your last name and his last name, and it happened to be a good match because, obviously Wiebad seems to be a killer name for a company like that. But, the whole thought process behind it, and the shooters came, and now you guys probably didn't think, at first, hey, we're just going to do this as a side gig. We'll make some bags. We'll give it to some buddies. and then all of a sudden it explodes, and now you guys kind of make a living off of it. That's kind of the American dream in a way. You think about it, right?
It is for sure. But I mean, it's definitely been some hard work. There's no doubt, some tough times, especially for rapid growth. But I mean, it's a blessing. Like we said, it's the shooters and the friends and the people who stood behind us and helped us make it what it is today.
And did you have a background in sewing, or you just say, hell, let's go to Amazon, buy a sewing machine, and say let's YouTube some videos on how to sew and let's do this?
No, actually, the only sewing I did was in 7th grade. I took home ec because all the cute girls were in home ec. I learned how to bake pies and stuff like that. Right. But it had been quite a few years. But actually, I ended up going on Craigslist and buying a commercial sewing machine off a guy in Houston.
There you go. Jeez. And that's how it all happens, right?
That's how it starts. Yeah, just finding out where to get the materials and everything, and start playing around and making stuff. And it's fun when you can go to the range and do stuff. And you're like, I wonder what happened if you had this or something. You can go home and make it.
There we go. Like we mentioned here, we're going to get more into the Wiebad bag stuff here. We wanted to give away that Kestrel from last week's show where we had Katie on. It's at the 15-minute mark now, so we want to give that away before we get too far in the show and we're too deep in the conversation. For the folks who watched last week's show, we kind of just threw a hint out there, do this, do that, and for those who actually watched and entered, the odds seem to be really good to win a really nice piece of kit. So we're going to draw that winner now. Jen, what you got?
All right, I got the names in my hat, and I've got my... Uh-oh, one fell out. Put it back in there. All right, mix them up, dig in there, dig your hand in there, and get whatever you want. My son's doing it to make it fair. All right, what name is on it?
And the winner is Nikki Clevenger is the winner. Thank you, guys. All right. Keep
Chris Johnson.
That doesn't sound anything like Nikki Clevenger.
Chris Johnson, and his longest shot, because that's what the clue was, to go on the post and say what your longest shot you'd ever impacted was, and his longest shot was 1791. And I believe he said he made that shot with his dad. They both made that distance shot. So congrats.
You better split that Kestrel then. With his dad.
With his dad, yep. So
did we have any details on what model Kestrel was this, or we just know it's a Kestrel? We don't know.
I just know it's a Kestrel. I'm not sure what Katie said we were going to do.
Okay. Well, there you go, dude.
Even if it is their minimum,
it doesn't matter. Yeah, it doesn't matter, right?
It's still going to be awesome.
Well, even if it's the minimum version, she told us last week that you can buy the base model, and then whenever you're ready, you saved up money, then you can upgrade the Kestrel that you have instead of having to buy a new one. So that was really cool.
Yeah,
that's cool.
So I will message him on Facebook if he did not see it. So
was it Chris Johnson is the winner?
Yep, Chris Johnson.
Winner, chicken dinner, dude. You got yourself a nice piece of equipment there. Appreciate you watching the Shooter's Mindset. All right.
Side note, sorry, I know you're going to get back to questions, but I'm just checking out the Wiebad website. Sorry, I've been swamped at work, so I only ever get time to look at this stuff now. What makes tactical embroidery different than regular embroidery?
The gear that it goes on to, it's presented for tactical use, and it was just a catchy name that we put out there at that particular time.
No, I mean, I dig it. It's like I'm sitting here like tactical embroidery. It makes embroidery sound like really cool.
Makes me want to get it. Whatever it is, I want to get it.
When we had originally started, kind of our idea is what we were going to do is we were going to have Wiebad as a business, and then we were also, because it was such a big investment to get into the embroidery side of it, we were going to also start up another company that was tactical embroidery and run those concurrently and send Wiebad product through there, but yet take on other jobs just to try to kind of pay for the machine. But once we actually started doing that, we had enough business on the Wiebad side of it to where we couldn't afford to take on any of the business because there were a lot of groups that wanted their logos on them or individuals wanted them names on them so their bags wouldn't walk away and whatnot. So we kind of tanked the tactical embroidery idea. So we ended up not going with that company, and we just stuck with the Wiebad, but the names always kind of stayed there.
I dig it. It makes embroidery sound like it's not too girly because it's tactical.
Sounds tough.
It's not. It's like, yeah, I'm gonna get my Wiebad bag monogrammed. It's tactical embroidery. Tactical monogram.
Yeah.
It was like the whole tactical consultant thing. If a dude
Yes,
has that, like a
tactical
part of
consultant.
his like training card, I want to take that course because tactical consultant sounds good.
Heath is taking that. Like Heath is going to add tactical consultant to his resume.
Tactical to anything makes it better, right? Tactical yoga britches,
And then in 511 do that? Tactical yoga britches?
They don't call it exactly that, don't they?
In the
Something
South,
like
tennis
that.
britches, same thing. It's a
Yeah.
same thing.
All right.
Synonym.
All right. So lining up here, following up with the questions here, you do custom bags. What color options are available, and how much is the tactical embroidery?
Sorry, I didn't read the questions. I didn't know that was coming up. God, I'm not paying attention, y'all. I'm sorry.
That's no problem. That's no problem. Do you want to take that one, or you want me to take that one?
Well, I can take the colors. We have 8 standard colors, which actually we have a little swatch book. Basically, it's coyote, olive drab, black, as well as multicam, cryptic typhon, cryptic highlander, ATAX FG, ATAX AU. And we do stock a few custom colors, small rolls on the side if somebody has a special request or something like that. I believe Jennifer's holding up a mini
Red.
fortune cookie, which happens to be a red, which we carry red.
Someone's got purple on here.
Yeah, red, purple, neon green, hot pink. We have a few colors on the side as well for special requests.
Yeah, and just to add to that, any of those 8 colors that David mentioned to begin with, which, by the way, if you just contact us at info@wiebad.com, we will actually just send one of these out to you at no charge, which is just a color swatch. If you just want to see what our current colors are, if you have that time to afford before you order the product. I know if you're anything like me, you probably wait until the last second. Oh my gosh, I have a match this weekend, and I need to get my hands on something. But if you can afford the time, we will actually send out a color swatch to you, so you can just take a look at the fabric, the quality of the fabric, and then you can take a look at the colors that we have to offer. Man, I had a thought going. I forgot exactly what it was. Oh, anyway, the thought is that if you order any of these 8 colors, obviously you can choose those options on the website. But any custom color that you're looking at running beyond that, you have to contact us directly. And our phone number is actually on our website under the contact. And then so you can call us there and ask us, hey, what colors do you currently have in house? We can pretty much get just about any color that's made in-house, but a lot of times to do that, if it's not something that we don't currently have already, like David just showed you, we have a lot of colors, there are additional costs associated with that, because a lot of times you do have to order a minimum quantity of it. So it's always good to kind of pick through kind of the colors that we do have when we do that.
And the embroidery.
And then the embroidery, it's available on our website. Now, along with our embroidery, it's more than just kind of you sending us a logo and us just throwing it on a bag. There's a process that has to be followed through there to where you actually have to take that logo from a picture and turn it into something that the machine can understand. So it has to go in there and embroider it in. So at times, there could be additional fees that are tacked on. Standard embroidery fee for most things up to a certain size is going to be $10. And that's what can be purchased off of the website. And that includes the digitizing, that includes the embroidery, and everything that we have to do. If it's something that we cannot do, like say for instance, it's beyond our capability to digitize it because there's a lot of shading or something like that, it's just too complex for us to do, we'll actually contact them and let them know if there's additional fees that have to be incurred.
There you go. And what are your bag materials made out of internally, and kind of like what you're using on the outside also? If you can kind of leak that secret sauce.
Sure. I mean, it's no secret sauce. This material here is 1,000 dinar Cordura. It is just a mil-spec fabric that is currently readily available out there today. It has and we're going to get into this a little bit earlier when we start talking about water repellency and everything, but it has a DWR coating on the inside of it, which is considered a durable water repellent coating on it. And then on the inside of the bag, it varies. We use different fills on the inside of our bag, depending upon if we're going for a heavyweight, a lightweight, a standard weight bag. And then also on the inside of all of our lightweight stuff, we actually do have inner bags to basically hold the material. That way it can actually maintain some sort of shape. So most of the time within any bag that you purchase, especially if it's a lightweight bag, it's more than one bag inside of that. So
there you go. And I'm sure there's obviously other companies who do bags like this. I mean, what kind of separates you guys from the competition?
I'll let you take that one.
Well, so the ultralight bags and stuff like that, there was probably one company on the market that I can think of possibly that made somewhat like that. We did a lot of research and thought process and tested a lot of different materials to try to get the most from our ultralight bags. And that's why Robert has mentioned has the inner bags and things like that to give it more structure, make the fill last longer. But we try to stand behind our products as much as we can. We have refill programs, which are very minimal cost. If your bag goes flat or something over time, which the ultralight fills, it will. We refill it for a minimal cost to take care of it. We've had bags that people have shot and whatnot by putting their muzzles from the AR-15s directly on the bag, which blasts a nice big burn hole in it, and taking care of it. We just try to always put the right foot forward and do everything we can to help the people out that have helped us.
Absolutely.
There we go. I mean, I know there's got to be some kind of weight different. You know, no one wants it, especially when you're carrying. And this is just from like watching Jen stuff and watching other videos. I know those bow guns got to have some weight to them, and if you got to be slung with a bunch of bags, no one wants all the extra weight. So I'm sure lightweight bags and how they form on a barricade or whatever, that's all comes into consideration, right?
Well, yeah, it does, but there's kind of been a transition a little bit. Everything went really lightweight, and it's kind of come back and equalized. So most people carry a lightweight bag that's larger in size, such as our pump pillow, to take up mass, like a lot of space between the elbow or in the body and the knee. And then a lot of people have also gone to a heavier bag to carry as well for barricades and things like that, where there's a lot of odd surfaces that kind of settles in that spot, like the fortune cookie or the mini fortune cookie, to give the gun something that it kind of sets down into and becomes very stable. So most people carry a complement. They carry a lightweight bag that's larger and a smaller bag that's heavier. And with just a few bags, you can attack most of the obstacles they throw at us at these competitions, which is anything they can possibly think of. We've seen a lot of different things over the years.
Boom, there we go. It's funny, we're chatting in a side chat here, which you guys can't really see live. And apparently Jen's still signed into my YouTube account from last week, and it's coming up as Anthony Cruz keeps commenting. And it's
I was going to say, when I logged in, like at the beginning of the show, both of y'all's pictures was the same thing, was the Shooter's Mindset logo. And I was like, Anthony, are you opened up twice on here? But then
That's weird because I've opened my email since I don't know. That's weird.
I'm logged in as Keith because I'm logged in as Keith.
It's too late now to log. Yeah, it's
too late now. You're stuck with me, but
yeah, there it is. So Jen's now Anthony.
Next week we need to check it before we go live, because I didn't even think about it until I just put in the chat and I was like, that's weird.
Bryson Allen says hello to everyone here. Angel says he's back. So just comments. Nick says my friend Greg Cannon recommended your channel to me. Glad he did. Oh, that Greg Cannon guy's trying to get some free swag, apparently. Seems. I guess that's Jennifer.
Hey, Bryson, I'll see you in May 5th.
There you go.
Bryson Allen shoots local in my area. And he shoots an SPS because he's a cool kid.
There you go.
I like your John Wayne poster in the background, by the way.
On the opposite wall that you can't see, this one, is Clint Eastwood.
Nice.
No, that's
Clint.
That's John Wayne.
No, on the wall right here that you can't see, but back there, like right here, Clint is Clint Eastwood. So I got Clint Eastwood and John Wayne.
Nice.
Oh, okay. I was about to say, hold on. I've
watched. It makes an L.
My dad made me watch enough of those westerns to know the difference between those two. All right.
Yeah, I got like a little western theme going on in here.
There we go.
I digress.
There we go. So watching some videos of some of these PRS shooters, and it's kind of, I know it's got to feel awkward to have 2 to 3 bags kind of slung to you, run into a position to put down your rifle and kind of shoot from. What can you tell us about the bandolier for bags, and the best system in carrying kind of 2 to 3 bags during a stage at one time?
Sure. Well, the bag bandolier was created kind of as a dual purpose product. So first of all, you've got the 2 Velcro pieces on there that are used to attach the straps of, say, the pump pillow or a tack pad to that bag. But also there are about 4 or 5 different loops on there, so it would allow you to easily carry all of your different Wiebad product or any other kind of product that you may have. Say, for instance, anything that could be attached to a tack link or a carabiner kind of around the match with you. So I know a lot of times, especially myself, what I find myself doing is I start the match with everything attached to my backpack. But by the time I get through the first stage, second stage, I've got to pick up something with this hand and put it under this arm, between my legs, whatever, just to get back over to the other match, because I've taken all the carabiners off everything. And I normally shoot last, so everybody leaves me behind, so I'm running to catch up. But that's one function of the product. But the secondary function of the product is you see a lot of people when they use their pump pillow, which was a product that was designed to take up space in your body when building shooting positions. So let's say, for instance, we're in a kneeling position and we need something to place on our leg to give us a little bit more of a steady platform when we're shooting off of a barricade. So rather than having that kind of dangling on your left side or right side, depending on if you shoot left-handed or right-handed, and putting that kind of in the small of your lap, the bag bandolier is something that actually just has it kind of riding there in the small of your body at all times. So you can loosen it and take it and slide it around your back, or you can actually take it and kind of slide it around your front and have it functioning exactly where you need it to function without it being dropped down by your leg. So it's definitely another option for you to use, as opposed to just using, I think Jennifer has one of our long straps, which basically is just a loop extender, is what it's called on our website for that bag.
Yeah, I need bandolier.
Yeah. So
I'm going to order one of those for K&M and make y'all bring it to me.
So essentially, it's almost like a rifle sling, in kind of like a sense, right?
Yes, sir. In essence, it's like a rifle sling, but intended for use with the bag. Yes, sir.
Right.
But carrying multiple bags, really, it's just like anything in shooting. You train with them and you move with them and stuff like that, and it becomes not even, you don't even have to think about it, because you just know where everything is subconsciously. So all you got to do is worrying about trying to put the bullet on the target.
I need the bandolier because I had a couple of stages where I watched the video and I was like, ugh, because I sat down, and when I sat down, the pump pillow ended up kind of behind me and out of sight, out of mind. I was so worried about getting, and I ended up not using it, and I should have put it under my elbow. If it would have been on the bandolier there, I would have already had it there. You know what I mean? Instead of it being back behind me, I've got to reach and find it or remember to grab it. So yeah, I want to get one of those. I said that.
Yeah, and absolutely. And for us that don't have the time to practice on a daily basis or aren't as efficient as some of the other, younger, faster guys that are out there, having that bag in place whenever it's time to utilize it and save that time. If that gives us an extra 5 seconds, that's 5 extra seconds to get that shot off on that stage. So every second that we can save there is critical.
I need that because I keep timing out.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, what's a typical, I know 3-gun and, the games are different, but I think 3-gun has a set timeout for the stage. Does it vary from stage to stage in 3-gun, Nikki? Or is it just a set timeout? Do you know that?
It can vary, like outlaw versus more structured type matches. There may be a match where like every timeout's 120 no matter what. There may be some where it's 90, but if there's long range in it, those stages will have 120, but they should be specified on the stage brief what the timeout is.
Is that the kind of the same deal? Is it stage by stage, or is it just like a?
Most of the matches that I've done have like all of them pretty much are like 1:30 or 2 minutes. Or I think there was one that the first day you shot all the stages and it had 2 minutes, and the next day you only had 1.5 minutes.
Yeah, you ran the exact same stages again. You just had less time.
Yeah, so it varied, but yeah. And I'm telling you, Anthony, a minute and a half, you're like, oh my gosh, it's 10 shots in a minute and a half. Like, that's easy. Oh my God. The first time I did it, I was like, oh, I can do that. It's only 10 shots. I was like, oh God, I timed out. Yeah, it goes by fast.
But then you've got 5 positions, and you got to move and build the position every time you move, and it eats.
Yep.
Yep.
Find the target in the scope, get settled. Yeah.
Yeah.
People are like, I don't have the patience. It's too slow. I'm like, it's not slow. I swear it's not slow. It feels like it goes by so fast.
Yeah, I can see the transition between like an action pistol sport to that. I mean, a minute and a half, 2 minutes. I mean, that's forever, but, we're talking about you're shooting stages in 30 seconds, 25 seconds, depending on the game, but then again, it's a totally, you're slugging 2-3 bags, a big rifle. You got to set up positions. You got to keep that bolt open. Then, then find where you're shooting at in your scope and all that stuff. I mean, that seems like it goes a little bit too fast, at least for me. Should a minute and a half, I got to go out there and hit 5 targets. Give me more time, right? But then I don't play that game.
It's really watching the guys who are at the very top. Matt Rousseau, Dave Preston, all the top shooters that are up there near the top, watching them move. It looks like they're moving slow and smooth, but I'm sure it's just like 3-gun or anything else. They're just moving smoothly through it. They don't have to think about it, and they just move through, and they actually end up, having plenty of time, but they just make it look so easy and effortless.
Well, and they're moving efficiently. Every movement is efficient,
Yeah.
For them, for me, not so much.
Well, also people always, they would ask, well, how do you train, like say shotgun loading? And I'm like, all right, well, I first just work on my hands, how I grab the shells, how I load. I said, I walk every day. So I don't need to practice how to walk and do something. So I start with just that movement of the hands and the actual manipulation of the gun, because I know how to walk. If I have to focus on walking, then I'm not focused on the actual move of loading the shotgun. So I assume because I don't shoot PRS, moving from position to position, you don't need to practice walking, so that way your mind can focus on what bag you need to grab next to get into the next position and get set up on that. And some people, I think, get hung up on the fact that there are people that can't walk and shoot gun at the same time. So some people do need to work on the walking and doing something at the same time. So
yeah.
It's funny, the stupid stuff you do on the clock, because I had somebody video every one of my stages this last time so I could watch and see what I need to improve on. And I have somebody that's helping me and watching the videos. And yeah, he was sending me everything that I did wrong, like a screenshot, and this is what's wrong. Another screenshot, this is what's wrong. I was like, yes, I know. You told me not to do that, and I did it anyway.
Yeah. All right. So you guys do more than just rifle bags on your website. What other gear do you sell?
Well, we carry a bunch of different products that complement ours and are, things that a shooter, a long-range rifle shooter and PRS shooter would need as well. We carry stuff from like C&H Precision, +2 mag extensions, so you can hold a couple extra rounds in your AICS mags, to throw levers for scopes. And I mean, there's so many, you almost need to go to the website and just check it out. It's hard to list them all, because I mean, we carry everything from flashlights to +2 mag extensions to everything else that complements what we do.
A mini pen holster.
Mini pen holster. There you go. And the website is Wiebad.com. So you go.
Do y'all make the mini pen holster, or is that a product you sell that somebody else makes that you bring in and sell off your website? Is that
that sounds like one of the Right in the Ring products. Is that correct?
I guess the picture shows it wrapped around the middle.
Yeah, we are a current Right in the Rain dealer. So we, obviously it's something that we would need to use out there, especially this year, shooting any kind of matches that we've had out there with all of the elements that we've had to face out there. But yeah, that's one of the various products that we sell out there that shooters could use.
I just think it's so neat. Like, you even think of the little details of how to hold your pen on your notebook.
There we go. Yeah. And since this is the year of the Precision Rain series, are your bags waterproof, and how should we clean them if they are covered in mud?
Well, this has been a very rainy season. I've shot 3 matches so far, and 2 of the 3 have rained. And from everything you see from all the other matches, especially in the southeast, it looks like you get at least one good dousing. I believe Jennifer could probably vouch for that. A few cold and rainy ones, but I usually either just let the dirt and mud and whatever dry and cake off and just kind of beat them around a little bit and it cleans it up. Or I've also taken my muddy bags and put them in the driveway with the hose and just rinsed them off. We've talked to some people who put them in the washing machine and stuff with no adverse effects. So it just needs a little time to dry out and stuff. And it's fairly I wouldn't say waterproof, but the fabric itself is highly water resistant. So it has to get almost submerged to get really kind of soggy and nasty.
I will say I hosed mine off. They were so muddy that I took them out in the driveway and just hosed them off because stuff was just caked and it was not going to brush off. And it, overnight it dried.
Yeah.
The outside dried and it didn't feel like it got wet inside at all.
Yeah. Well, I've never put mine in the washing machine like some people do, but I don't think my wife would appreciate that.
Yeah, I could see that coming into play. So there we go. We're going to move on to Discount Corner here. Try to save you some money from great companies who support the Shooter's Mindset Show. Jen, you usually start us off with this. What do you have?
You can get 10% off at carbonarms.us on shotgun, shell caddies, chest rigs, tube extensions, all kinds of stuff. Carbon Arms, ratchet belts. They have the best ratchet belts. I love those. So go check them out at carbonarms.us and you can get 10% off with TSM10. You can also get 10% off at the Shooter's Mindset store with my code, which is the coolest code of the show, Jen TSM10. Don't listen to anyone else later in the show about any other codes because Jen TSM10 is the best. So go check us out in there and order mag extensions and all kinds of stuff. Why are you saying Heath's? He isn't even here.
Yeah, no.
Jen TSM10.
It's a funny code because it actually.
If you could really spell out the replacement TSM10, good for you to have spelled that whole thing out.
And it currently doesn't work. I never set it up yet, so it doesn't matter.
It's terrible.
Yeah. I gotta set it up. I was thinking about that today. Nikki, what do you have as far as discounts?
Well, if you go to shootersmindset.com and you don't use Jen's code, you can use Nikki, Niki, TSM10, and save 10% at the Shooter Mindset store. I also have my Frenzies codes where you can just hit me up on Facebook. I'll save you 20% at TrueSpec. Be on the lookout for a video Heath and I just did. I got to edit it a little bit because I think I cussed a couple times. But we did a clean out of Heath's range bag because he has a new TrueSpec range bag that just came in that's really awesome. And we have found some junk that needed cleaned out of his other one. So that video is coming soon. It's a what's in your range bag video. But to save 20% on TrueSpec, just hit me up or Heath up on Facebook. We'll share that code with you. You can also save 15% at Criterion Barrels. Hit me or Heath up on Facebook or on Team Clevenger Facebook page. We can get you discuss, make sure you get the kind of barrel you need, what you're looking for, and we can save you a little bit of money on that. You can also check out American Defense Manufacturing. Use discount code 3GUN10. It's the number 3, the word gun, and the number 10 to save 10% on all non-serialized items. And I don't think it works on the light packages or optic packages and stuff like that. And new discount code alert. So this year I am a brand ambassador for Dangerous But Good. And my discount code is finally live. So check out Dangerous But Good and use discount code Nikki, DBG10 to save 10% on their website.
There we go. I got a couple here. The folks over at shop.tacticalshit.com. TSM10 saves you 10% off the entire website. If you're in the St. Louis, Missouri area, St. Peters, check out their retail spot. If you yell it at the cashier, you save 10% off. All right, must yell it.
Oh, I forgot another one of mine. Dang it.
What do you got? What's your one you missed?
Because you're going to say yours, and I don't want them to use yours. I want them to use mine.
You can. I don't even say it anymore. I just did the Clevenger thing.
Okay.
Red Hill Tactical.
Red Hill Tactical. Just use discount code Clevenger to save.
If you can spell that.
Yeah. Clevenger, like clever, but Clevenger. Not difficult.
For Red Hill Tactical.
Red
Red Hill Tactical host. Right. TaranTacticalInnovations.com, TSM10 for 10% off everything at Taran Tactical Innovations. Also, the folks over at Rand CLP, Mindset 16 for 15% off, randclp.com. All right. We had, do we have any live ones? We didn't kind of check on the Facebook side of
We
things.
do have one live one, and I was trying to put in the chat, but then I realized it looked like you were talking to yourself. So Greg Cannon, the one that recommended our show to Nick, he said, heck yeah, for some swag, Anthony. But he also said, so I'm shopping for bags now because I have passed my addiction on, and I'm trying to get him into this. He said he's shopping for bags now. So which would you recommend for a rear bag for prone or bench shooting?
Okay. Well, for prone or bench shooting, if that is your primary focus, excuse me for my speech impediment, apparently, you can use anywhere from there's a set of bags that was originally designed for the bench called the Range Cube and the Mini Range Cube. And the Mini Range Cube is a small cylindrical bag that's about 5 or 6 inches tall, and the rear of the gun settles into it well. It weighs about 3.5 pounds. It works both good off the bench as a rear bag or prone. Or you can use any of the other bags, the loop bag, which is just a standard heavyweight fill bag, which is a little bit less expensive. Either one of those options would work great. If that's your primary focus, if those are the only 2 places you're going to be shooting from, they would work great for either of those.
There we go. I mean, I threw this one in here. If someone's just kind of testing the waters, kind of getting into this PRS game, and if you can recommend kind of one bag that you guys sell, kind of that all-around bag, which bag will it be?
Well, we're going to have differing opinions a little bit on that, just like everybody else. If I had one bag to run them all, it'd be the Mini Fortune Cookie. I can conquer most things out there with it by itself if I had to. Now, would it be my choice to? No. But the Mini would be my number one choice. Robert feels that there's an added stability to the larger brother, the regular Fortune Cookie, off of barricades and things like that. But I think, we both think the Fortune Cookie design is probably the most versatile for all situations. It's just the size difference varies between the two of us what we like. Yeah. And that's the Mini Fortune Cookie.
I agree with him. This is like the Mini. I agree with the Mini. I don't have a regular size Fortune Cookie, so I don't know about it. But the Mini is, I like it because it's lightweight. And if it's a stage where you have to do multiple things, you can either put it on the barricade this way or this way, sideways. Or if you're having to go prone, you can either, put it as a rear bag like this, or I've even, whenever it was something low, just use the corner just underneath of it. Or if it's really tall, then I've used it like this underneath.
Yeah, same here.
So you can it's just very versatile. You can move it a lot of different ways and get different height. And then it's only one bag to have to run a stage with if you're doing barricade and prone. So.
Do you have any discount codes from you guys on any Wiebad or any maybe upcoming promotions or anything on the fly? I know we didn't kind of plan this usually.
Yeah, we didn't talk about it, but it was actually something that we had talked about because we were interested in possibly putting a code out here for Shooter's Mindset. And if you guys are open to that, we would be more than happy to do it. I'm sure it kind of helps your listeners out a little bit, and then it kind of helps us also track on this side and kind of see who's listening out there to see how many of these codes can be used for us. So if you're okay with it.
I can say it every week. I'll say Wiebad every week.
we would actually like to put a code out there that is basically just Shooter's Mindset, and then the date today, which would be 04/24. And we'll know actually when we started that, and what we'll do is we'll throw a 10% Wiebad site-wide discount out there as well.
Sweet.
There we go. So the great Cannon's out there surfing for some bags. You just saved yourself 10%. All right.
Yeah, and that site will probably be active probably about, I'd say, 15 to 20 minutes after we get done with the show. It's currently not active, but it will be shortly.
So that's Shooter's Mindset 04/24.
Yes, that is correct.
04/24. The Shooter's Mindset 0424. I'm looking at the mini fortune cookie right now. This bag is going for $60. And that, I don't know, obviously, if you want tactical embroidery or any hot pink colors, that might vary. But if you're getting into it, that's the kind of price on Wiebad.com right now. Save 10%, save you a little bit of money. What else we got here? So we got to hear that Robert is into competitive barbecuing. Now, I never ever talked to a dude that was into competitive barbecuing.
Guess where that question came from, Robert?
Where did that come from?
And he did win grand champion last weekend at the cook-off he went to as well.
But where did that question come from? I'm curious.
My friend.
Your friend?
My friend. Regina. Regina and I were talking today. She's like, you got to ask it. Well, I said, help me with some good questions for Wiebad. And so she gave me some, and that was one of them.
Okay. Well, to answer that question, currently we do not use any Wiebad product as part of Wiebad Barbecue. However, there is an assortment of bags that are in my motorhome, and my wife actually likes talking about what Wiebad actually does. She's our best salesperson when we're out there on the road with the barbecue competitions, and she's not shy. She'll pull them out and she'll show everybody the bags, and we'll get into a big conversation about that. So, it is beneficial to do this. Obviously, our bags are not only for the competitive shooter. There's like out there. Need steady platforms, especially when concentrating on shot placement for shooting while they're hunting. So she's sold a lot of bags for us that way. Also being in the soft goods marketplace, there's a lot of things that Wiebad could also do for the barbecue community. And David and I have actually talked about that before in the past, but it's nothing that we've done yet. So I wouldn't rule out that possibility sometime in the future.
So are you bringing barbecue to K&M? That's the big question.
No, unfortunately, I'm not going to be at K&M. I'm not going to be at K&M this year. David and I talked about this not long ago. So every year, for some reason or another, there used to be a barbecue competition for the Danny Dietz Memorial Fund, which was now I think it's just called the U.S. Navy SEAL Memorial Fund. And I've always wanted to cook that barbecue competition, but never had the opportunity to, be it a graduation, a match, or something that had come up in the past. So this year I've made a commitment to myself that I'm actually cooking that contest. I think it's for a very good cause, so I'll be there.
So I'll be flying solo. Would that be half a Wiebad?
David will be flying solo.
I heard that if you're flying with them, that TSA doesn't really like them, but if you tell them that it's a neck pillow for medical reasons, that they'll let you go. I can't remember who said that. Like this past week, they were like, just call it a neck pillow and they'll let it through.
I think Regina's mentioned that before, yes.
Donut would probably work too. But.
Yeah, if you guys got the sewing machine, why not make some, why not dual purpose that as some neck pillows? Just change the material on the inside, right? We might get some. Why not? Right, the tactical neck pillow.
There you go.
Hey,
as long as it says tactical, you're good.
Hey, these things are useful. This thing right here, PRS, you don't carry it. You don't have a 3-gun cart. Like you have your backpack and your rifle slung on you. It's heavy, everything. I don't want to haul a chair. So I sit on this.
Well, actually, a friend of ours, Hunter Sykes, we used to shoot a lot more with than before, but he's a big 3-gunner and stuff like that. But he was the first one I ever saw. He brought his 3-gun cart to a rifle match one time because we had a lot of stages that were far apart. But everybody was laughing at his stroller. But by the end of the day, when it was hot and we had been walking all day, he was the one laughing with his 3-gun cart.
Yeah. Yeah, it's fun. And the ones that I've shown up to, my stuff ends up on their cart eventually at some point. Yeah, just throw all your stuff on there. I got enough room,
We use a wagon, like one of those collapsible wagons that we got at Sam's Club, because we carry 2 sets of everything, which is fine by me. I roll the cooler, which acts as my seat. So Heath has to actually tow the wagon with the ammo and the guns, but I get the cooler, and then I get a chair. So
nice.
I somehow always win at the end of the day.
Man, I kind of want to start firing away on competitive barbecuing questions for some reason, but then I think we'll run out of time for the Wiebad questions, right? Because
So what are you going to ask? He's not going to give you any of his secrets.
I don't know, but I think it's going to cost too much time. I know it because because I've got I went to some barbecue spots and my buddies will hype it up. Hey, you got to go here, you got to eat it, and then I go in there, I'm excited. And I end up killing this with barbecue sauce because it's dry, only way it really tastes good is you just douse it in barbecue sauce and you have a variety of it, right? So I was like, there's a question, how to keep that meat, kind of not from being dry and douse it in barbecue sauce. There's got to be a technique to that. And I'm sure there's tons of competitive barbecuing. Like, how does that roll? I mean, I've watched the Food Channel a couple of times, but I'm not. I'm not, is there like a time versus points thing or what? You got to cook it at a certain amount of time, everybody at the same time. So I don't know. It's interesting to me.
Hey, call me sometime. We'll talk about all that stuff. But in a nutshell, yeah, everybody cooks it in the same amount of time. We run a competition and we show up on Fridays generally. Sometimes I like to show up on Thursdays, depending upon, if we need to relax or anything before the match, if it's going to be a really big one.
So it's like he's scoping out the stages the day before the match, and he's out there.
Out the competition. Yeah, absolutely. But no, everybody turns in at the same time. I actually cook under the IBCA sanctioning body, is what I cook under. There's also a very popular sanctioning body out there that everybody's probably a little bit more familiar with called the KCBS. But we actually, under that sanctioning body, it does give us standardized turn-in times. Cooking is all done on site, so a lot of times they say you can be here at noon on Friday, so that's the earliest opportunity that you have to cook. It's all run by time. I have a huge time schedule that I keep when I do my barbecue. I like to cook mine, I normally on my brisket, I normally run about a 6 to 8 hour recipe on that. You were asking about how we keep those things moist. There are a lot of commercial injections out there and a lot of different commercial products that you can use to help you with that. Hit me up afterwards, man. We'll talk about all that barbecue stuff.
Yeah, that stuff. I don't know why I find this competitive barbecuing thing so interesting for some reason.
Yeah,
that's kind of cool.
Because it's
right, exactly right. Yeah, it make and break, barbecue spots, and there's a lot of good ones in the neighborhood. But all right, I'm gonna keep going on this stuff. We got question number 7 here. The bags. What bags do you guys personally use, and why do you choose those bags?
For me, David kind of went over it just a second ago, but for what I like to use as my kit is I always carry around a fortune cookie with me. My fortune cookie is my all-purpose bag, if you will. I use it as a rear bag. I use it as a front stability bag. And then I also carry around a pump pillow with me. And the pump pillow is more of a specialty bag that I use for building shooting positions. So in other words, if I get into a standing offhand shot and I've got all this space here under my body, I try to eliminate the muscle strain that's actually made in my bicep that makes me inaccurate by creating a relaxation point right there and putting that pillow in kind of the crook of my arm or putting those arm straps on there so I can do that and eliminate that muscle strain and make myself a little bit more accurate. So those are primarily the 2 bags that I will run around with.
The bags that I use primarily are the mini fortune cookie and the pump pillow, although the tack pad makes an appearance every now and then, depending on which match we're going to. Some of the matches, they require you to climb and move a lot. And if you need a rear bag that's very versatile, the tack pad, I've got a flush cup on it, and I can just snap it into the rear of my gun and just move with it all at once. But a mini fortune cookie and a pump pillow, or like you said, the fortune cookie and the pump pillow, basically 2 or 3 bags, you can conquer almost anything that they throw at you.
So there you go. We got a couple lot. What do you got? What do you got, Nikki?
What is the range cube? Is it like a more solid type bag, or is it the squishy, like kind of more air than anything?
No, it's a heavier weight bag. It's not an ultralight bag. So the regular range cube is a very big bag. It's a 9-inch circle that weighs in at about 8.5 pounds. And then the smaller mini range cube weighs in, I think, at 3.5 or 4 pounds. And they were really meant to be kind of served as a set. So you could sit there on the bench, put the front one up front and the rear one in the back, and kind of nestle your gun down in there to really get a good zero, like for people who hunt or things like that, or people who shoot primarily from the bench.
Gotcha.
There you go. There we go. We've got a couple live here. Steph says hello to all. Also, Bryson Allen says the Clevingers are back. Bryson says typically long range is 180 seconds and everything else is 120 or less.
Obviously, he's been doing this longer than I have. He's like 18.
There you go. What do we have here? Any upcoming events, matches, or kind of company goals? Any sponsored matches that are Wiebad sponsored matches?
Well, we were a big sponsor in the Lone Survivor match, which benefits the Lone Survivor Foundation a few weeks ago here locally, which is put on by Dave Ferguson and Prentice Wink. And I think
shout out to Prentice.
You just had to, didn't you? Egg them on. But no, but we're always a big sponsor of there. We're usually a big sponsor of the Heat Stroke in Oklahoma, which will definitely be helping them out a lot this year as well, because due to all the fires in western Oklahoma, not far from the range, which might have impacted the range as well, to help those guys out, to help all the families and stuff that were impacted by it. And it's a bunch of great group of guys, even though I hate to tell the Okies they're good guys too much because we're from Texas, and there's a little rivalry going on there at all times. But and we're also pretty closely tied to the rifles only matches as well in South Texas. And there'll be several other matches we're sponsoring. We're sponsoring K&M and a couple other matches down the road. But our big push this year, at least as far as match sponsorship, was more at the club level this year. Robert and I, around Christmas time, right at the first of the year, we talked about how we were going to do this, what matches we were going to sponsor and this and whatnot. And we're still sponsoring quite a few matches. But the majority of our sponsorship at the beginning of the year, we started contacting club directors, like from all over the country, that are, run these clubs with 30 to 50, 70 shooters, with all the new shooters and stuff like that. And we sent a lot of gear there at the beginning of the year so that they could either loan it out to new shooters who needed it or to give it away to new shooters that needed it as well. So we figured that would help them out more than no offense to the PRS or anything else, because we love those guys. We are still sponsoring them and everything, but we felt like the new guys could use it more than the experienced shooters who travel from match to match who already have a handful of gear.
I think there's something to be said for that. Like, even in USPSA, whatever, the people support the big matches, which is great, but a lot of the big matches are the people that have been doing it a long time. A lot of them have the equipment already, and so with bags, I mean, I would think that most people shooting the big PRS matches already have bags. Most people aren't stupid like me and show up with nothing and just borrow because they don't know what they're doing. But most people at those matches have a bag that's their favorite bag. They don't want to change because it's like their whoopee they have. So, people are very superstitious about some of their rear bags and all. So I think that's great that you're doing that with the local matches. With y'all supporting shooting sports, I mean, I've seen y'all out there doing it and supporting it. What are your thoughts on the growth of PRS? Like, how big do you think it's going to get? Where do you think it's going?
It's crazy. I've been doing this for a long time. My first off and on, I have two sons, one's 14, one's 11, and there's been some years in there where I didn't shoot any matches or anything like that. But my first match was in 2005. Their rifles only in Kingsville, the very first Sniper's Hide Cup. And back then, there was probably only 4 or 5 matches nationwide, maybe, that people who were not military active or whatever that could shoot or law enforcement. And now there's like 40 bolt gun PRS matches, I think, and like 16 NRL matches. I mean, there's a match like every weekend all across the country. You could probably find a match within 5 or 6 miles of your house, no matter where you live. It's really amazing. We think it's awesome that it keeps growing and everything. It's as long as we can just continue to get along, and sometimes there's a lot of type A personalities in the sport, and as long as we can just listen to each other and work it out our differences and everything, there's no end to how big it can get. I mean, it's amazing. There's there was a post this past weekend about somebody at a PRS match. The RO gave them an extra point or something like that, and they told the RO they were wrong to take that point back away. And there's countless stories. Because the core of the PRS and NRL and the long-range shooting community, it's definitely growing, but almost everybody is just, they're so awesome. I mean, they're just good people who are very honest and just are out there to have a good time and support each other and support the military community and do whatever we can just to enjoy each other's company.
What do you think that the industry, is there anything that we all can do as a company or even as a shooter to help grow it more and keep it going so it doesn't?
Well, the PRS is trying to do that in a way by bringing, when they brought out the production series and the tactical series, by bringing in where people didn't have to totally go into the deep end. The unfortunate thing about our sport is there is some money up front required to buy gear, and then you get on this roller coaster kind of that I'm sure everybody on this this conversation here is once you start accumulating gear, it kind of becomes an arms race, somewhat to speak. But I think as long as we can keep getting more companies involved to help share the burden to bring in new shooters and help support them and either give away gear to the people who need it or to just help take care of it and keep the good name of the PRS and everything going by helping new shooters and doing whatever needs to happen, that will keep it growing. And also kind of on that note as well, there's a lot of top PRS shooters now that won't even walk the prize table. They let people who finished 50th or 100th or whatever walk in their place. And as long as we keep doing those sort of things, helping especially the new guys, where they say, hey, look what happened to me at this last PRS match. So-and-so who finished like third gave me this, whatever, $3,000 Schmidt & Bender scope. As long as we keep that kind of feeling and that goodwill going, we'll continue to grow the sport. And the sky is the limit. I mean, I think it's still the fastest growing shooting sport by far of anything. And especially in the last 3 or 4 years, I mean, the amount of matches and the amount of sponsors is just baffling.
Yeah, it seems to be exploding. I think gap grind helps. I mean, I think it's great that you get to, that was the first match I did. It made it less intimidating because I was like, oh my gosh, I don't know what I'm doing. But at least I had someone, I don't care enough that I'll just go and look like an idiot. I don't care if I want to learn something. But it was nice to be paired up with somebody that was like, they had to answer my questions. There was no choice.
And that's the great thing.
Was great.
And that's the great thing also about all the club level events that happen now. I mean, a couple years ago, there weren't many, but there's clubs in almost every state across the nation. And the club levels, like we have a club level match here once a month, second Saturday, and those are a little bit less formal. And not that at a big match, anybody would help you if you asked them regardless. I mean, they would offer you gear or whatever, but in the club level, it's much more relaxed. It's one day. It's not as cost prohibitive. It's like usually the matches are like 20 to 50 bucks. I've seen people go to new shooters and loan them their extra rifle and ammo. Like, here, just come and shoot it. We'll give you this. That's the type of thing that's also going to help the sport continue to grow as the club level, the roots level growth of the sport. Just because these club level matches, you get to meet all the people in your community and in the area within 2 hours. You create a network of people to shoot with and enjoy and have good times and a few cold beverages afterwards.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Some people just travel to matches for the cold beverages afterwards, man. You know.
I know a few of those. We won't mention any names, but we know a few of those.
No, I mean, can definitely appreciate some of those guys who give their, top places to the guys finishing 100th or whatever, 150th, because in the end, it's very expensive to travel to these matches. And even if you are a seasoned competitor, getting that Smith & Ben, get that nice $3,000 scope, $4,000 scope off the prize table, you sell it, you recoup some of that money, So even if you do have all that stuff, to give away your placing to walk the table really says a lot. And if someone was to do that to me, I'm like, dude, what are you doing? You know what I mean? There's an AR-15 up there that's worth $4,000. Take it. You know what I mean? I'd feel so honored that someone would even want to give some their place away like that high. I didn't know they do that in that game. I mean, people always want to lend gear and ammo. I've had that type of stuff, but to give away a top placing like that, to, a few $1,000s worth of gear always means a lot, especially to some guy who's just starting off. Maybe it's his first major, and don't have the bags or don't have that fancy equipment.
I've only seen that done at one 3-gun match, and it was all ladies match. So
yeah.
Well, I mean, at Gap Grind last year, Tim Milkovich went and walked the table, and I was shooting a borrowed gas gun. That's all I had was a borrowed gas gun, which was great. But, they kept saying, you should try a bolt gun. And I was like, well, eventually I will. And he went and walked the table and pulled a chassis and came and just handed it to me. And then this past week, same thing at, where was I? At MPA. And she hates when I say this, but Regina pulled fifth. She was fifth. She was like way up there, and she got Curtis Custom Action that someone else had been talking about that they wanted, and she walked out and handed it to them.
Yeah. Sweet. Yeah, Regina's given away at least one complete build that I know of, as well as various other things. Tim's done the same. Paul Reed's done the same many times. He's given away all kinds of stuff. I mean, it's just, it's pretty amazing. The people that you meet.
I haven't heard of that too often in a 3-gun game, and I'm sure it's been done in the pistol game because, like you said, people shoot. It can easily cost $1,000. I mean, that's kind of like the base point. $1,000 is what it's going to take for you to really fly to a match. Hotel, food, and all that thing. Match entry. Sometimes it goes well over that. And some people really look to get those top places. Some of these guys, they know they're top 10 guys, no matter what match they show up at. And, grabbing that AR-15, grabbing that scope off a table, and even though they have their sponsored gear, selling that gear will recoup the travel that they spent to go to that match. So to hear someone giving away a top spot and a major prize like that really says a lot to that person, I think, and to the game that they play in. Because, like I said, I really haven't heard that other than this kind of PRS game. So,
yep, there's a lot of good people involved for sure.
So there we go. I mean, any live stuff on your end, Jen? I'm pretty let me check. Online. I think I'm good on the YouTube side of thing, and we're kind of wrapped up with questions. I don't know. I'll bring this one down.
Drum roll while it refreshes. I know. I think we're good though. Let's see.
Competitive barbecue questions time or no?
Nope. No more questions. We're good on my side.
All right. So.
Oh, I was going to tell my story about my fortune cookie.
Okay, go ahead.
Oh yeah.
So at the y'all let me forget almost. So at the MPA match last weekend, was it last weekend or the weekend before? I don't remember. Anyway, whenever it was, there was a stage that had like the different fence levels, and then it had like almost like a gate, like a metal gate that was there, had different levels, and 2 of the levels were only about that far apart, and you had to shoot through there. And so I'm sitting there watching, because I still watch other people to see what they're doing. So I'm sitting there watching, and everybody's got their big bag that they use as a support bag that's not a mini fortune cookie, and they're using it, and then they get to that rung and it won't fit, like it's too tall, it won't fit through there. And so you can see them like throw the bag down, and they have to shoot that rung with no support bag at all. And then they pick it back up for the last position. And so I'm sitting there watching, and I was like, I think I can get my mini fortune cookie in there. I think I can do it. And so I went in there, and when it got to that one, I laid that thing across the thing, and see how flat it is? Just that little area. So I put it across like that and turned the rifle sideways and sat it up, and it was just as solid as it could be. And I got my 2 impacts that way. And I heard somebody back there go, her bag fit. I was like, yes, it did. It sure did fit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Great.
That's my mini fortune cookie story.
That's awesome.
All right. So once again, if you guys are just joining us here, the website is Wiebad.com here. I have a variety of stuff, rifle shooting bags, pretty much gear that you need to get into this game if you're planning on joining it like I say I am for years and years. But
come on out.
Yeah, come on out, right?
I just misspoke. Regina was 3rd at MPA.
Oh, she texted you to say that?
We were talking about something else earlier today, and I had 5th in my head from what me and her were talking about earlier today. She was 3rd at MPA. She killed it at MPA, and I'm very proud of her. I'm sorry, Regina. Don't hate me.
I was gonna say, did you get an angry text that was like, "Girl, I came in 3rd, not 5th. You better recognize."
Well, after I said it, I was like, that doesn't seem right. Yeah.
But there it is. All right, so there's the website here. We're going to run this one down to shout-outs here. Jen, start us off here. Let's go.
All right, shout out to Wiebad because they support Team Prime with these awesome, see my P on my bag? Isn't that great for Prime? Anyway, so these are awesome. I do love them very, very much. So thank you very much. And shout out to Prime Ammunition. Those are my good ammo and my team. I love them dearly. All of them. Get to shoot with them again at K&M in a couple weeks, so can't wait to do that. Shout out to Lansing Tactical for awesome AR-15s and AR-10s. Kestrel. Who else? Night Force Optics. Sharpshooters of Augusta and Shooters of Augusta. Grizzly Targets. Who did I forget?
Night Force Optics.
I said Night Force Optics.
Did you? Oh,
yes,
okay.
I sure did. Oh, awesome Patriot case. See the Patriot case? It's my little home for my rifle. And Under Industries for awesome jerseys.
Oh, there you go. Nikki, what do you have shout-outs?
Y'all know that Heath, I know you don't think he remembers that. I found his little notes with all the shout-outs on them, which is good because I don't remember them. So I'm glad he has notes. I want to shout out Criterion Barrels, American Defense Manufacturing, Eagle Imports, shooting the SPS Pantera for them. It's been pretty solid gun. Pretty excited to shoot my new one this season in May. True Spec, German Precision Optics, the Outdoor Shop, which is my local gun shop. If you don't have a local gun shop, you can check mine out at the outdoorshop.rocks. Red Hill Tactical, Safari Land, Dangerous But Good, which is new for me this season with just me, which I'm really excited about. It's one of those ones where you don't get both of us. They only wanted one of us. Just saying, because he's not here to fight that. So, Dangerous But Good, just for me. Stage Zero Shooting Supply, Pure Gold Shotgun Chokes, and Zero Tolerance Knives.
Well, there, Nikki, you have some really good sponsors to get into this PRS game. You have a barrel. You have a barrel company and you have an optics company. I mean, shit. And all you need is what? A chassis and an action?
No, I have a rifle company too. American Defense makes full rifles, so.
There you go.
I could, and I want to, but now Heath is on this like 224 kick.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'll have to do gas gun stuff.
All right. David, Robert, shout outs, man. What do you guys have?
Yeah. Hey, we just did want to mention one thing. Anybody that's going to be at the NRA show, we actually have a booth there this year. We're going to be in booth 11644, actually right next to C&H Precision Weapon Systems, which we'll give a shout out to right now. Buck Holly, those guys over there do a fantastic job at doing weapons modifications and rifle builds and just other types of accessories. But if you're in the area and you come by and you're at the show, please stop by and see us. Love to hear from you.
And we'd like to give a shout out to you guys because we've had a great time.
Yeah, absolutely.
I appreciate that. Spending 2 hours of your time. The barbecue stuff has got to take a lot. I'm not going to get over that, man. That's awesome. But appreciate you guys coming on here. Definitely subscribe to the channel right below the video if you're watching on the YouTube side of the thing. As long as we're still on YouTube, we'll still be putting a show every Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern. So if you just subscribe, you'll be able to catch the latest stuff from the Shooter's Mindset channel. Shout out to the folks over at Tactical Shit, folks over at Tandemkross.com for all your rimfire needs. If you'd like to email me, theshootersmindset@gmail.com is a good way to do that. Folks over at Gear Nation USA, appreciate their apparel. We are the Shooter's Mindset is an exclusive dealer for Gear Nation and their swag. You can check that out on our website. Folks over at TaranTacticalInnovations.com and RAND CLP. All right. Always check out the folks at Wiebad.com for your rifle bag and kind of your shooting accessory needs. check them out here. Remember to use the code The Shooter's Mindset. What is it? 0424.
That's it.
So the date of this show, The Shooter's Mindset, and you guys can save 10% on their gear over there. Thank you guys for tuning in tonight. It's episode 218 of The Shooter's Mindset, and we're apparently out of here. Until next week, we'll see you again.